I remember the day it all started like it was etched into my soul with a dull knife. It was in that dingy apartment on the Lower East Side, apartment 304, where the walls seemed to close in on me every night. I was frozen against the kitchen wall, clutching my dead cell phone, the one I couldn't pay the bill for. The banging on the door wasn't just a knock, it was an assault, shaking the thin wood and sending dust dancing in the faint light from the grimy window. It was Marcus, my stepfather, the man who turned my life into a nightmare after my mother's death. He'd racked up a $300,000 gambling debt and forged my name on it, making me the collateral. He was screaming that time was up, that they'd kill him and then me if I didn't open the door. I was terrified, my body trembling, knowing there was no escape. The window led to a 3-story drop into a brick alley, and the door was my only way out. Or in. I grabbed a dull vegetable knife, the only weapon I had, and pressed my ear to the door after the banging stopped suddenly. There were voices, Marcus whimpering, and another voice, deep and calm, icy, saying something about handling it. Then a thud, like a body being dragged, and silence. New footsteps approached, and a knock came, precise, patient, not violent. Like Marcus's. The voice called my name, Ms. Hayes, and asked me to open the door. It wasn't a request. It felt like an announcement. I opened it just a crack, chain still on, and saw a gray eye framed by dark lashes, impassive. He told me to remove the chain, using my first name as if he knew me intimately. I did, and there he was. Tall, dominating the hallway in a charcoal gray suit that screamed wealth and power. His face was striking. Square jaw, straight nose, thin lips, cold gray eyes that assessed me like I was an object. He introduced himself as Damien Blackwood, the name I recognized from serving people like him at my cafe job. He said Marcus would no longer be a problem, that he'd handled it. I asked what he'd done, but he just repeated that he'd handled it and stepped inside without invitation, closing the door behind him. The apartment felt even smaller with him in it. He brought a scent of citrus and wood, money and ozone. He looked around with disdain at the stained sink, the threadbare sofa, and I felt exposed, cheap. He told me to sit, and I did on the edge of the pull-out sofa. He stayed standing, as if the furniture might soil his suit. He laid out my situation, the debt, the abusive stepfather, my dead-end jobs, no family, no safety net. He knew everything. Then he said he was my only option and proposed a business transaction. I thought I had nothing to offer, but he said I had one thing he needed: time. He explained he'd pay the debt, handle the loan sharks and Marcus, give me security, a better home, food, in exchange for becoming his wife for 1 year, 365 days. It was a contractual position, he said, to solidify control of his company for business reasons. I'd live in his home, attend events, smile when told, stay silent when required. In public, Mrs. Blackwood. In private, strangers. After a year, divorce and a settlement to ensure I never lived like this again. I'd be free. I asked why me, and he said I was convenient. No family, no complications, a ghost. I didn't have a choice. The alternative was Marcus and the Sharks. I accepted, and he said his team would collect my things in an hour, that I didn't work my jobs anymore. My only job was his. He left, saying a car would wait downstairs in 60 minutes and not to be late. I sat there numb as the silence pressed in. 365 days starting now. I packed what little I had into 2 suitcases, mostly old clothes and a faded photo of my mother. When the time came, I went downstairs to the black sedan. The driver, more security than chauffeur, took me to a luxurious hotel room, vast and impersonal, with silk sheets and a note to be ready by 9 a.m. I woke to silence. No familiar noises, just the weight of reality. There was a nightgown I didn't remember putting on. A woman had come the night before with it, and clothes. I dressed in the provided outfit. Black trousers, ivory blouse, leather flats. They fit perfectly. The driver took me to Blackwood Tower, a skyscraper piercing the sky. Up the private elevator to law offices, where the receptionist said they were expecting me. Down a hallway to a mausoleum-like room with a massive mahogany table and a wall of glass overlooking the city. 2 lawyers stood, interchangeable sharks, and at the head, Damien, looking out the window, not turning when I entered. One lawyer told me to sit and slid a thick document across the table, the marital agreement and service contract. I read it, the dense legal jargon outlining separate wings in the penthouse, no unauthorized access, no unnecessary physical contact, no personal information exchange. Public duties: attend events, maintain appearance, follow affection protocol, eye contact projecting admiration, specific touches, proximity, even kisses limited to 3 seconds for photos. Confidentiality in perpetuity, and breach meant reactivating the debt with massive interest, him holding it now since he'd bought it. He hadn't paid it, he'd acquired it. I was his collateral. I said it wasn't a contract, but a deed of ownership. He called it collateral, said he'd solved my problem, that protection had a price. If I didn't sign, the debt went to collections, and Marcus would be free. I signed, my hand shaking, the pen heavy. He signed without looking at my signature. The lawyer said, "Congratulations, Mrs. Blackwood," that the marriage would be processed by proxy that afternoon. Damien stood, said, "Let's go," to my new home. The drive was silent, him on his phone. We arrived at a towering black glass building, down a private tunnel to a garage like a showroom, then up the private elevator straight into the penthouse. Vast space, high ceilings, a wall of glass showing the city like a map. Cold, minimalist, shades of black, gray, white, furniture like sculptures, no personal touches. He welcomed me without warmth, showed the common areas, introduced Adelaide, the housekeeper, a thin woman in gray uniform with a neutral face. He said she'd manage the house and staff, that I'd occupy the east wing. He showed me the kitchen, gym, pool, then the hallway splitting into wings. The west wing was his, forbidden to me. My room was huge. King bed, sitting area, bathroom like a spa, closet full of clothes in my size, neutral tones. My old suitcases looked pathetic there. He stayed in the doorway, said clothes for events would be provided, that a tablet with my schedule would come, to memorize it, that I represented him now. Dinner at 8, be ready. He left. I closed the door, felt the silence crush me. I was safe from Marcus, but isolated in this luxury tomb. I went to the glass wall, looked at the city below, untouchable. In the closet, rows of gowns, suits, shoes, all my uniform. In the bathroom, beauty products, impersonal, nothing mine. I sank to the carpet, hugged my knees, and cried silently. The loneliness was vast. The wedding day came soon after. Adelaide brought a garment bag with ivory silk dress, simple, modest, no joy. I put it on, looked like an expensive secretary, not a bride. No veil, no flowers. At 9:45, down the elevator with Damien already there, he nodded approval at my appearance. The drive, silent. To a notary office in a financial building. 15th floor, gray and fluorescent. Lawyers waited. The justice of the peace, tired-looking, confirmed our free will. I almost laughed hysterically, but said yes. Damien said yes, firmly. He read formalities I tuned out. Then rings, platinum bands, simple, heavy. Damien took my hand, his warm, steady grip shocking me. Electric, alive. He slid the ring on, cold metal contrasting his warmth. I slid his on, clumsy, trembling. The justice declared us married. 2 claps from lawyers. Signed the register, Elena Hayes Blackwood. It felt wrong. Damien checked his watch, took a call, left the room mid-conversation. The security guard said the car waited. I followed, the ring heavy, feeling emptier than ever. Married, abandoned in 30 seconds. The first 2 weeks were silence. I existed in the East Wing,
A ghost. Ate alone at the huge table. Meals appearing. Adelaide my only contact. Brief. Heard Damien sometimes. Footsteps late at night. On the 15th day, Adelaide brought a team. Stylist, makeup artist, hairstylist for the Blackwood Corp Gala. They transformed me. Exfoliated, waxed, styled. The dress was sapphire blue silk, one-shouldered, clinging, with a slit. Diamonds on loan. I looked beautiful. A stranger. A luxury doll. The car took me to the venue. Damien waited, assessed me, said I looked acceptable. Inside, the gala was opulent. Crystal chandeliers, elite crowd. He placed his hand on my lower back, guiding me, following the protocol. Whispers about the new Mrs. Blackwood. He introduced me to associates.